Welcome to this explainer. Now, when you think of the Maldives, you're probably picturing pristine beaches and luxury resorts, right? But today, we're unpacking a sweeping new policy proposal that's designed to turn this island nation into a highly efficient digital society. They're literally taking a historically fragmented, manual bureaucracy and attempting a massive digital leap. So let's dive right in and see exactly how they plan to pull this off.
Here is our roadmap for this huge transformation. We're going to start by looking at the bureaucratic bottleneck. Then we'll explore the Ask Once principle, check out the secure digital backbone, dive into mobile-first island solutions, and finally, wrap up with trust through guaranteed timelines.
Starting things off with Section 1, the bureaucratic bottleneck, moving from fragmented to seamless. To really appreciate the proposed solution here, we first have to look at the baseline problem. Right now, citizens and investors are dealing with a manual, disjointed system. You might find yourself bouncing between 3 different offices just for one single permit, dealing with totally unpredictable delays at every step. And, as anyone who has ever read it in a government line knows, that completely kills public trust. The proposed system flips this entirely on its head. It envisions an integrated ecosystem with automated verification and legally guaranteed timelines instead of those endless waiting rooms.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Ask Once principle, redefining data collection.
So the heart of this legal and philosophical shift is a pretty bold paradigm shift. It simply states that institutions must not request information already available. It sounds incredibly simple, doesn't it? But actually implementing this requires changing the law itself. The proposal mandates that if the government or a connected, regulated system already has your data on file, they absolutely cannot legally ask you to submit it to them again. Basically, you're no longer acting as the unpaid courier for your own information.
Just think about the administrative burdens in your own life for a second. Under this proposal, if you need a permit, the system instantly pulls from the National ID and Population Registry, birth and death registries, land and business registries, tax and customs, or even judicial clearances all automatically. It legally mandates encrypted digital retrieval. That completely cuts out the busy work of proving things the government already knows. No more manually submitting endless photocopies of your telecom bills or land registries.
Which brings us to Section 3, the secure digital backbone, connecting the economy safely. Now, what's really interesting is how they plan to actually connect all of this disparate information. It isn't just government ministries talking to each other, they're bringing the regulated private sector right into the fold. The engine driving this whole operation is the National Encrypted API Gateway. You can kind of think of it as a highly secure digital translator. It acts as a centralized backbone bridging public systems like immigration and tax directly with private entities like banks, telecoms, insurers, and resorts, allowing everyone to communicate completely seamlessly. Of course, when we're dealing with an entire economy's data, security is literally everything. The proposal locks down access using strict API protocols, requiring strong authentication and heavy encryption. But most importantly, it's entirely consent-based. A bank can't just snoop through your records out of nowhere. You hold the keys. You have to actively grant permission, and every single action leaves a full audit log behind, so your privacy remains entirely secure. Next up is Section 4, Mobile-First Island Solutions, Designing for Geography. Building a modern IT backbone is one thing, right? But delivering it across hundreds of geographically dispersed remote islands requires a highly specific user experience. So they're building a single national mobile application with a strict offline-first design. This means that even if you're out on a remote atoll with incredibly spotty Wi-Fi, you can still open your digital wallet, pull up your permits, and use QR-based verification. It's actually built for the reality of island life, not just for a perfect test lab in a major city. And to ensure total inclusivity across the entire economy, the platform natively supports exactly 3 languages. You've got DeVi for locals, English, and Chinese. And that last one is a direct nod to the massive tourism and foreign investment sectors that are really driving their economic growth. Finally, we reach Section 5, Trust through Guaranteed Timelines, focusing on predictability and accountability.
Let's explore how this proposal tackles the absolute biggest pain point in any bureaucracy, the endless waiting game of not knowing when your service will actually be completed. This strict new application flow totally changes the rules. Step 1, auto-verified payments. That means no more waiting in a separate cashier line. Step 2, completeness is verified against a strict legal checklist. And here's the real kicker. Once an application is accepted, post-acceptance rejections are legally banned unless there's outright fraud. Finally, step 3, you get an instant digital receipt with a guaranteed date and time for delivery. No more guessing.
Now, you might be wondering, how can they possibly guarantee that exact date on your receipt? Well, it all comes down to radical transparency. The government is implementing real-time central dashboards tracking overall processing times, institutional compliance, and even individual staff performance. If a ministry starts missing deadlines, the system flags exactly whose desk the paperwork is stuck on. It brings instant, undeniable accountability right into the heart of the bureaucracy. Ultimately, the payoff for this massive undertaking isn't just about saving you a trip to a government office, although that is definitely a nice perk. It's a fundamental structural transformation. By erasing red tape, guaranteeing service times, and securely linking data, the Maldives is drastically enhancing its global investment climate. It makes the country wildly competitive globally, all while building profound public trust right at home. As we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with a rather provocative thought to consider. Think about your last really frustrating encounter with a government bureaucracy. Could the ask once rule, making it flat out illegal for institutions to ask for data they already have, fix the red tape in your own life? It's an incredibly powerful concept, and watching the Maldives execute it on a national scale is going to be absolutely fascinating. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and keep asking those big questions.